Let's say our mission statement together. It is to see an ever-increasing number of people come to know Jesus as Savior. We don't care if they live in this Georgia or that Georgia. We want people to come to see Jesus, all right? We are in 1 Timothy chapter 6 today, wrapping up the letter of 1 Timothy. And we're going to start at verse 6. 1 Timothy, verse 6. Paul, the Apostle Paul, is writing to Timothy and says, remember that godliness with contentment is great gain. We brought nothing into this world, we can take nothing out of it. Makes sense? I've never seen a casket with pockets. But if we have food and clothing, we'll be content with that. Verse 9, those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Please listen to me. This is one of, if not the most incorrectly stated and translated verses in all the Bible. The King James Version of this says, money is the root of all evil. In the later translations, it is the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith. They pierced themselves with many, many griefs. Okay, so the main thought of what Paul is trying to tell Timothy here is our pursuits can get us in trouble. When people exercise too much, it is possible it can hurt and damage your body, and it's bad for your health. There are people who are trying to lose weight, and at some point, that's great, but you got to stop. But there are people who lose weight with what we call anorexia, and it becomes deadly. These folks weigh 100 pounds at 6 foot tall, and they think that they're fat. Because anorexia, although weight loss or weight maintenance is a good thing, it's not good if it goes to excess. Anything in excess is generally bad for us. And what Paul is telling Timothy is, these people that are pursuing all this stuff, make sure that you teach them that this can lead to doing things or becoming a certain way that is bad news. Paul is telling Timothy, there are certain things in life that are critical. Breathing, eating, those things are critical. What color shirt I wear is not critical. It might be important, but it's not critical. Everything in life, virtually, is temporary. Temporary things go away. For example, our hearing. What? What'd you say? That's like the best word at my house. What? Can't hear you. Our hearing, our knees, our hips, our eyes, our teeth, these are all temporary. And it certainly, looking around the room, you guys could all go like this, but it might hurt. Don't do that, okay? I don't want to hurt you. The point is that people invest a lot of time and a lot of money in this, but it's all temporary. It's going to go away. Our resources are also temporary. So number one, true gain is actually a balancing act. It's okay to gain a lot, but there's a balance to that has to be maintained. A life that is grounded in spiritual integrity is the most valuable. So a life with a lot of stuff with integrity, that's a balancing act. And for many of us, this has been demonstrated that material wealth is not the true measure of success. Look around the world. If you are, I'll use two people, Bezos and Musk. These guys own half of the world, it seems. Do you think they go to bed at night thinking, I got to get just a little bit more than that guy? Do you think that? Because I do think they think that. I think they want to be the richest man in the world. I think it's an arrogance thing or a pride thing. That's what I think. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. But I know this. The fact that they have more money than you or me does not mean that you and I are not a success. It does not mean that God does not love us or that he does not have great plans for us or that he is invested in us. None of that matters. Because when Jeff Bezos stands before God, just like I will, he will say exactly the same thing that I say, which is, yes, sir. That's what he'll say. And he will be face down on his knees in front of Jesus, just like I will, just like you will. Money is not what makes you a success. I see these baseball players that are making $600 million in a career. You know, they're getting $40 million a year to play a game. Are you serious? Are you better than the kid that only makes $1 million a year? Yeah, your talent might be better, but you're not a better person. Are you any better than you or me? No. They're just people. They put on their baseball pants just like you and I put on our pants. Money is not how we measure success. This is a good story. In the third part of the play, Henry VI play, Shakespeare paints this really insightful picture of the king. King Henry is out walking in the mountainside, enjoying his day, and this commoner sees him, and he says to the king, "If you are the real king, where's your crown?" And King Henry's answer is, "My crown is in my heart, not on my head. It's not decked with diamonds or Indian stones, nor to be seen. My crown is called content." And that's a crown that is seldom seen and that kings seldom enjoy. That's pretty powerful. Having a crown is not what brings me content. Being at peace inside is what makes me who I am. It is who I really am. We're all kind of getting to know each other, but I'll give you a little inside scoop on Tom. I love potato chips. I love certain kinds of potato chips for sure, and I love potato chips with chip dip, green onion chip dip. It's the best ever. I could eat an entire bag every day. Okay? However, if I'm trying to lose weight, there is a surefire way to make sure that I don't eat potato chips. And it's don't go down aisle number 7 at Publix. Okay? The point being is that sometimes eliminating things that we enjoy or that are not mandatory is the way for us to be able to focus on the things that really are mandatory. Just don't clutter my life with potato chips, and I'm not going to eat potato chips. I've been on a diet the last about 6 weeks, and I've lost almost 20 pounds. And I did it. You know how I did it? I don't buy potato chips. That's how I do it. I have popcorn once in a while. The fact is that Christian life is no different. The things that we struggle with, if they're not mandatory, maybe we should just cut it out of our lives. Maybe we should just eliminate it. Epicurus was asked the secret of his happiness, and his answer was, "Add not to a man's possessions, but take away his desires." Don't give him more money, take away his potato chips. He'll become more content with what he has. Don't change the things that he has, change what he desires is how you bring about contentment. Number 2, contentment leads to a life of simplicity. The importance of valuing eternal spiritual riches over earthly possessions is the foundation of contentment. Pursuing spiritual riches because they're not temporary. Number 3, don't love stuff. Somebody can break in your house and steal your stuff. Or you can crash your stuff. Or you can lose your stuff. Or forget your stuff. Don't count on the stuff. The warning that says the love of money root of all evil is the root of all evils, it encourages us to reflect on how material pursuits can distract from spiritual pursuits. And many of us have navigated this challenge by simply prioritizing our faith and our relationships with people more than material wealth and pursuing things that just go away. There have been many people in this room, I'm sure, that you turned down a job somewhere or an opportunity because, no, that's not good for my family, or no, that's not good for my marriage. That probably happened. That's a smart thing to not love stuff. And number 4, greed is a distraction. Only experiences can teach us the lessons on the importance of staying grounded in faith, avoiding greed, and maintaining spiritual focus despite life's temptations. Those of you that are a little bit older will agree that, most likely, that you wish you knew at 30 what you know at 70. Right? There were a lot of things that we could have avoided at 30, the pain of being 31, however you want to look at it, had we known 40 years ago what we know today. But that lesson only happened through experience. And the experience was painful, but the wisdom is, but I learned a lesson. So those of you that are young, when you're making decisions and you're coming up on a decision to make about a job, a career, a direction in your life, find an old fuddy-duddy and ask them, what would you do? Ask them and listen, because you might be surprised what they say. They might say, oh, I think it's a great idea. They might say, I almost did that once. They might have some wisdom there for you, because wisdom doesn't happen just by something occurring. Wisdom happens when you have an experience and you learn from it. And in this case, greed can be a true distraction. I want to say money is not good or bad. It's not moral or immoral. Money is amoral. What that means is what you do with it depends on whether it's good or bad. But money is powerful and it can do evil things. The Bible guides us to realize that the power of things never brings happiness, and it encourages us to concentrate on things that are permanent. 5 reasons that you're glad that you are not uber rich. Ready? Some of you are like, I've never been rich. I don't want to be rich. I know people that are rich. Maybe some of you in the room, you consider yourself to be rich. But here are 5 reasons that you are glad you are not uber rich. Ready? Money tends to create a thirst that can never be quenched. If you've ever sat at the beach in the sun all day long, you have to drink water. There's an ocean in front of you. They don't recommend that you go to the ocean with your face wide open, your mouth wide open to drink the water. Why? Well, there's other stuff in the water other than water, and one of those things is salt. And the salt water will dry you out, and it will make you more thirsty. And you'll want more water, which means more trips to the ocean. No, you will never quench your thirst by drinking salt water. And folks with money tend to want more all the time. They tend to. Doesn't happen all the time, but they tend to. Another reason, money creates an illusion of security. It's an illusion. Looks like it's security, but it's really not. It cannot buy protection. It cannot buy your health, love, forgiveness. It cannot avoid sorrow, and it cannot avoid death. Money seems like it can protect you. There was a story this last week where 2 young men were arrested. They kidnapped a guy and they held him hostage for 2 weeks. He had $100 million in Bitcoin, and they wanted him to give them his password so they could get to his money. He refused. He refused. They let him live, but the point is, they messed up their lives, and his money could not protect him. It didn't matter the walls around his house, the alarms, the Dobermans, and the security guys. These 2 guys figured out how to kidnap him. So money cannot protect you. Ask any celebrity in America that's got the paparazzi following them around and ask them if their money can protect them. No. They all have private bodyguard security, and even that isn't foolproof. Money cannot protect us. Money tends to make people selfish. Doesn't happen this way always, but what happens is it is easy to begin to see people as a way to make more money. And at that point, the people become the pawn. They become the one you're taking advantage of if they're the ones who are helping you acquire more money. It does not, and I want to clarify, it does not always happen this way. However, it is a danger. It is a possibility that it would make us selfish. Number 4, money tends to lead to anxiety. In the story of the prodigal son, he had to begin to wonder, who's my friend? Who can I trust? Who's got my back? Always wondering where that one guy is. He's kind of sketchy. That kind of thing. Who can I trust? And here's why. The more we have, the more we have to lose. You can't lose $1 million if you don't have $1 million. But there is a tendency to be haunted by this potential loss. So I had a motto when I was in college. You ready? The more you study, the more you know. The more you know, the more you can forget. The more you forget, the less you know. So why study? Bill went to that same school, obviously. The school of hard knocks, exactly. The same thing applies to money. The more money you have, the more money you can lose. The more money you lose, the less you have. The less you have, you're out of money. So the concept here is you have all these riches and lands to manage, and it leads to anxiety. People get nervous. They get worried about this. And the last one is money can lead to improper behaviors. In the end, according to what Paul said, it's just pain and misery at that point. One of the ways the kids nowadays say this is dirty hands, clean money. If I'm a hard-working man, I'm making clean money. But the people that have a lot of money, they got clean hands, you might want to look at what they're doing. That's kind of what that means. You know, maybe they're dealing something, maybe they're stealing something, they're fencing something, they're gambling something. They could be a smart, wise investor. But the motto is dirty hands, hard work leads to clean money. And then when people figure out a shortcut way to make money, all of a sudden they're in behaviors that you find themselves over their head. We've all seen movies where the innocent kid gets hooked up with the mob and the mafia because he made some silly decisions, and we've all seen those kinds of movies. That stuff really does happen. Innocent people get involved, and they didn't mean to, but something happened along the way. Next thing you know, you're paying for it. To be independent, meaning you and I, to be able to independently provide for ourselves, is prudent. It's very wise. It's very wise to squirrel away money for a rainy day. Incredibly wise. However, to make it the pursuit of our lives, to make it the driving force to amass more and more and more squirrel away money just so I can have a lot of money, it can lead to a life that's misguided. It can. I know some faithful Christian people that are, by our standards, incredibly wealthy. And you know what? God has blessed them. But they all have one thing in common, the ones that I know. They're generous. And they give their money away. Why? It's not my money. It's just a tool. It's just a tool to do either good or bad. And that's amazing to me. That's amazing to me. Because there is the spiritual gift of giving. And that's a form of encouragement. But all of the wealthy people that I know are incredibly generous people. So money in and of itself is not bad. What we do with it is what makes it good or bad. Here's the thing though. Money will reveal our attitude. And our attitude about money reveals our heart. Our attitude about money reveals our heart. Man, if I just won the lotto, I'd give $1 million to this and that, and I'd do this and that and this and that. Probably not. How do I know? Because I'm not already doing those things. Listen, if giving money to a particular mission or ministry was significantly important in my life, it would be important in my life now. And that's what money does. We had a friend in Michigan, their neighbor, won like $7 million in the lotto. This was years ago when the lotto was much smaller than it is now. $7 million. And within a matter of weeks, they had to put a privacy fence around their home, and they had to send a bodyguard to school with their kindergartner. You think that was worth $7 million? No, I don't think so. But I also know people, and you've heard of people, they win hundreds of millions of dollars, or celebrities, or athletes. My goodness, Mike Tyson, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's broke. He's broke. How do you spend that much money? You and I don't know, but he figured it out. Because Mike Tyson, at one point, was the top of all the mountains in terms of athletics. But one little decision at a time, one person he hung out with at a time, comes tumbling down, and all of a sudden he's just like you and me. And it happens because of our perspective or our attitude. So in closing, there are some things that are important, but there are also some things that are critical that we do or not do. And the challenge is to stay focused on the critical. So what Paul would say to Plant City is pretty simple. Pursue the things that matter. Pursue eternal things, because the eternal things last. The temporary things, not only are they going to go away, but they lead to disappointment. Keep in mind, Timothy is with this group of new believers who've come out of this world where everything that I can see, remember the Gnostics, everything that I can see is worthless. Everything that I can see. But there were people, even in that culture, that had amassed great wealth, but they didn't take care of it. And they didn't take care of what they did or who they hung out with and how they spent it. And Paul is trying to teach Timothy, teach these people to concentrate on eternal things with their resources. One of those resources is our health. One of those resources is our means, right? It is the love of money that can be the root of all different kinds of evil. Not money itself, but our attitude about money.